Hello, ninth grade extended students. Today we are going to talk about perpendicularity and also supplementary and complementary angles. This is sections 2.1 and 2.2 in the Honors Geometry textbook. I'm sure you've seen this before, but perpendicularity refers to lines, rays, or segments that intersect at a right angle. We call them perpendicular. I'm going to draw a diagram and write in symbols what this means. Line PQ is perpendicular to line QR. Oops, wrong thing. QR has to go through Q. So it would look like this. And in symbols, if I wanted to express this, I'd say line PQ is perpendicular to line QR. You write it as an upside down T. This symbol means perpendicular. Based on the definitions I just gave you, I'd like you to try to mark this diagram and solve the problem. Press pause on your video, and when you're done and ready to check your answer, press play again. So here is my answer. If line PQ is perpendicular to line QR, I marked my right angle here, an angle PQS is 72 times as large as angle SQR. I marked this one X, and this one is 72 times X. I know these add to 90, so adding them up, I set them equal to 90. I'm supposed to find the measure of angle PQS. So I'm going to solve for X, and then I'm going to plug back in to find the angle. So 72x plus x is 90. That means 73x is 90. X is 90 over 73. To find the measure of angle PQS, I plug back in 72 times 90 over 73. This is an exact fraction, or as an approximate decimal rounded, 88.8 degrees. Here's a little bit more review of vocabulary words. Complementary angles means that the sum of two angles is 90. Supplementary angles means the sum of two angles is 180. If I want to find the supplement of an angle that's 70 degrees, it's 180 minus 70. It is the matching angle measure that causes the two angles to add to 180. So the supplement is 110 degrees. The complement of a 70-degree angle is 90 minus 70 degrees, or 20 degrees. If I want to find the supplement of an angle X, it's 180 minus X. If I want to find the complement of an angle X, it's 90 minus X. This is important because as we start doing some word problems, I'm going to ask that you write it that way first before you write your equations. Next, I'd like to find the complement of an angle with this measure. The complement is 90 minus that. Press pause on your video, and when you're ready to check your answer, press play again. Find the complement of an angle whose measure is 61 degrees, 21 minutes, and 13 seconds. Here's my answer. Remember, you have to borrow. So 90, I have to borrow to get seconds. I have to borrow to get minutes. 90 degrees, borrowing a minute, is 89 degrees, 60 minutes, and 0 seconds. Then I'm going to borrow a minute to get seconds, 89 degrees, 59 minutes, and 60 seconds. Now that I have that, I do my subtraction. The answer is 28 degrees, 38 minutes, and 47 seconds. Here's a word problem where we're going to write the measure of the supplementary angle first as 180 minus x. So it says one of two supplementary angles. As soon as I am done reading this, I write, okay, x is my angle, and 180 minus x is the supplement. Now that I have it written, it's going to be much easier to write my equation. One of two supplementary angles, okay, that's one of two, is 70 degrees greater than the second. 70 degrees greater than the second. By the way, I also could have written it this way. One of two supplementary angles is 70 degrees more than the supplement. And I'll show you the difference in how that turns out. It says find the measure of the larger angle. So I'm going to work with my blue equation. This is x equals, simplifying, 180 plus 70 would be 250. 0, 7 plus 8, 5, yeah, 250 minus x. Add x to both sides. 2x is 250. X, therefore, divide both sides by 2, is 125. So that means my first angle is 125 degrees, and my second angle is 180 minus 125, which would give me 55 degrees. Find the measure of the larger angle. So the measure of the larger angle is 125. Now, let's go back and see what would have happened if I solved the red equation. So I would subtract 180 from both sides. That means minus x equals x minus 110, right? Yes, 110. And then I'm going to subtract x from both sides. That's minus 2x equals minus 110, or x is equal to 55 degrees. Now notice, in this case, x turns out to be 55 degrees. The other angle is 180 minus x, which would then give me 125. It asks what's the larger angle. The larger angle is still 125. So you get the correct answer either way you go about it. It's just that x represents a different angle in the red equation. I'd like you to give this one a try. When you're done and ready to check your work, press play on your video, and I'll go over it. You should be able to use the information provided here to find all the angle measures. If you know that angle 4 is 131 degrees, and 4 and 2 are supplementary, that means angle 2 is 180 minus 131, or 49. Now, any two angles that lay on a straight line are supplementary. So that means if this is 49, this is going to be 180 minus that, or 131. This one and this one are supplementary, so this is 49. Angle 1 and angle 5 is supplementary, so that's 131. Same thing happens over at the other intersection. 4 and 8 are supplementary. This is 49. Angle 7 and 8 are supplementary. That's 131. Angle 3 and angle 7 are supplementary. That is 49. The next theorem we're going to discuss is the congruent supplements theorem. And there's two parts to this. If angles are supplementary to the same angle, then they're congruent. And the next part says if angles are supplementary to congruent angles, then they're congruent. Let's see how this works. So if I'm looking at angle ABC, and I know it's supplementary to CBD, so here is ABC, let's call that X, and then CBD, is 180 minus x. So if angles are supplementary to the same angle, then they're congruent. ABC is supplementary to CBD, and DBE is supplementary to CBD. So that angle would be 180 minus x, distributing the negative. I find that's just x. So then these two angles would be congruent. Same thing works with congruent angles. If I know angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent, I know angle 2 and angle 4 are congruent. Let me give you a numerical example. If this is 30 degrees, that means this is 30 degrees. This is supplementary to angle 1, so that's 150. Angle 4 is supplementary to angle 3, that's 150. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. That's the congruent supplements theorem. There is also a congruent complements theorem. It works the same way as the supplementary theorem. So rather than angles being supplementary to the same angle, I have angles that are complementary to the same angle. So number 6 says, if angles are complementary to the same angle, then they're congruent. Okay, given. ABE is complementary to EBD, and DBC is complementary to that same angle. Let's put a measurement in there. Let's say this is 60 degrees. If ABE is complementary to that, that means this is 30. If DBC is complementary to that, that means this is 30. These are congruent. Same thing works if you're applying it to different angles. If angles are complementary to congruent angles, then they are congruent. 2 is complementary to 1, 4 is complementary to angle 3, 2 and 4 are congruent. Same thing with measurements. Let's put in 20 degrees here. They're congruent. If they're complementary, angle 1 and angle 2, that means this would be 70 degrees. If 3 and 4 are complementary to if 3 and 4 are complementary, that means angle 4 would be 70 degrees. 2 is congruent to 4. Congruent complements theorem. To do this problem, we're going to need to solve a system. I want to look at something though. This angle there, let's label them so I can talk about them. This is angle 1, this is angle 2, and this is angle 3. Angle 1 is supplementary to 2. Angle 3 is supplementary to 2. Therefore, angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent. By that last theorem we just talked about, the congruent supplements theorem. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, which means their measures are equal. So I can use that as part of my equation. I need 2 since there are 2 unknowns. So I have x squared plus 3y is equal to 4x plus 3y. And I also have either this plus this is 180 or this plus this is 180. I think I'm going to shy away with something with x squared. Let's use angle 2 and angle 3. So 3 plus 20y plus 4x plus 3y is equal to 180. Remember, if you have 2 unknowns, you need 2 equations. If you have 3 unknowns, you need 3 equations. I would like you to solve this system of inequalities. Press pause on your video. When you're ready for the answer, press play again. There are actually 2 answers for this problem. You can see this is the system that we started with. Then I simplified each of these equations. The first one allowed me to get rid of the y's. They canceled out, which allowed me to solve this equation. Remember, you never divide a quadratic by a variable. You factor it once it's set equal to 0. So I factored out an x, and I found x was either 0 or 4. And then I plugged in to the bottom equation. So I put in 0 for x, solved for y, and I found y was 177 over 23. So this is the first solution to my system. Then I plugged in 4. 4 times 4 plus 23y is 177. I found y was 7. The second solution to the system is 4 comma 7. Now I have to find the angles. I do that by plugging back in. So the angles marked in green came from this solution. 177 over 23 I plugged in for y, 0 for x. I got rounded 23.09. Here, rounded 23.09. This angle is going to be 180 minus that, or I could substitute in y. The black numbers I got by plugging in the second solution for 7. So this would be 37, this would be 37, this would be 143. Time to practice. Practice the assignment I posted in Schoology that is due tomorrow. Have a great day.